from the Big Heavy World Studios in Burlington, Vermont. This is The Anything Show with John Francois. I hope you know what you're in for.
Well, actually, I'm coming to you from the Magic 97.7 studios in Lyndonville, Vermont. Thursday, December 10th, as we record this. John Francois here, and my partner in crime, Main Squeeze Mary, calling in from where, Mary?
My apartment in Newport.
Yes, her apartment in Newport, Vermont. We cannot do the usual live show on Saturday the 12th because by that time I will be away for some belated birthday getaway weekend that my girlfriend Tony planned for me. So we'll see how that goes.
Spicy.
Hey, Mary, I don't share too much details. Whatever happens in the bedroom stays in the bedroom.
You share way too much details. I don't even want to hear it.
Oh, that's true. Yeah. I think breast milk came up way too many times on the last show. So, yes. All right, but anyway, we still got a great show for you on the Anything Show this week. Later on, I'll be speaking with Dane Reese. Dane Reese, who is a singer, dancer, actor. He's been in show business for like over 16 years, and he is the host of the You Booked It podcast, which helps entertainers take entrepreneurial control of their careers. So I'll have a great conversation with him later on right here on the Anything Show. I'll also be speaking with Mike Holtzman, who is the founder and lead songwriter of the band Bad Penny. Mary, they combine current and ex-members from bands like Journey, Queen, Queensryche, Blue Oyster Cult, and we're going to even hear their debut single, Voices in My Head. We'll also talk about how the band came together. And me and Mary, in just a second, we'll get into our headlines. We have to find out, Mary, how much Santa makes every year. Because, yes.
I would like to know.
Oh, it might shock you. Believe me. For a guy that only works on Christmas, it might shock you. Listen, subscribe, follow, review, and rate The Anything Show on Apple, Spotify, iHeartRadio, Google, wherever you get your podcasts. And you can find us on Facebook at The Anything Show, and on Instagram at Anything Show Francois. That's Anything Show FRANCOIS. Okay, Mary, shall we get to our headlines?
We shall.
Okay, so the website insure.com just calculated Santa's estimated salary. Get this, Mary. Based on jobs like managing the workshop, reading letters, doing private investigative work to determine if kids are naughty or nice, wrapping gifts, caring for reindeer, and making deliveries, it's estimated that Santa will make $157,300 per year. Now, do you think that's well-deserved?
That is nowhere near enough.
Oh, wow. You think Santa should be making a lot more?
Santa travels the whole entire world.
But I don't know.
Not just like a country or a state, the whole entire world, okay? So I'd like to see you do that.
Okay, yes. That's definitely a big effort in itself. But what I'm caught up on is the fact that Santa works one holiday per year. He just works on Christmas. So I don't know. I just find it kind of interesting that he makes that much money for just one holiday per year. I mean, what do you think? I mean, do you think Santa like starts working the day after Thanksgiving, or like maybe
you know
like the
what?
week?
I bet Cardi B makes more just on one concert. Okay.
Yeah, possibly.
So you're telling me that she deserves more money than Santa?
Cardi B does sweat her ass off in concerts, but you know what? She also doesn't travel up the sky like 50 billion feet up in the air around the world delivering gifts and doing good for people. Okay, fine. But still, he's working. Like put yourself in. Okay, let's just say, Mary, I gave you a job of sorting papers only on Christmas Day, and you got $157,300 a year. Now, if you're just working sorting papers on Christmas, only on Christmas every year, I mean, yeah, okay. You're going to be glad that you're getting that much.
But Santa's not just sorting papers. He's literally flying in his sleigh with reindeer. He's got to make sure the reindeer are healthy, right?
Yes.
And he's got to keep them happy, and he has to, watch the weather, okay, to find out how high he has to fly and how low he has to fly. If there's, a storm, he's not going to fly in the clouds, right? Okay, so he's, a meteorologist, pretty much. And, he has to I guess he has the elves wrap the presents, but he has to go down everyone's chimney and placed the presents in everyone's house. So, like, he's not just sorting papers to find out who's naughty and nice, okay?
But my point is that he is. I mean, okay, yeah, he does a lot of work for Christmas, but he's only working on Christmas. It's just interesting to me that okay, I don't know. I guess if I was only working one day a year or for one holiday a year, $10,000 a year. Yes, that's right. I said it.
If that was your job, was to be Santa and literally travel the whole entire world in one night in 24 hours. Yeah. He has 24 hours to do it all. How much would you think you deserve?
I mean, I could take maybe $30,000 for the night. I don't mind that. I don't know.
Really? And that's all you get all year? For literally trillions of children? Okay. Trillions. John, trillions.
Okay, but you really think that with that $157,300, Santa could live on that for a whole year once he's done doing all the Christmas stuff? Like for all
yeah.
Okay.
What do you mean? Okay. Like, I live on $20,000 a year.
Yeah, that's true. Oh, yeah. Yeah, you know what? Yeah, I'm clearly not doing math and money correctly, so never mind. My point isn't valid.
Yes, I do think you could live off of $100,000 and whatever $1,000 a year.
Yeah. All right. Well, speaking of which, how old were you, Mary? This is our next headline. How old were you when you stopped expecting gifts from Santa? Because the most common answer in this recent survey is 8 years old. They say the most common cutoff age today is 10. I think that sounds about right for me. I would say maybe by 9 or 10 years old is when I was like, okay, something's up here.
Yeah, I think probably my age is between 7 and 10, somewhere in there.
And how did you find out? What was the big reveal?
I mean, part of it was common sense.
Okay, stop it. You're a kid. You can have an imagination.
Classmates.
Your classmates spoiled it for you? Oh, I hate that. God darn it.
They hated seeing me happy about Santa.
Wow. And that's how you became a bitter soul that we know and love today.
Yep.
Wow. Well,
Thanks, Newark School.
Yeah, shouts out to Newark, Vermont, the cynical school of cynicism. Me and my sister Natalie, we would leave milk and cookies overnight for God knows how long on behalf of our younger brother CJ. Because me and my sister were 2 years apart in our late 20s, and our brother CJ is a decade younger than us. So we would just do that for a while, and then I remember I think it was one Christmas Eve, we did the milk and cookies thing again, and he was just like, okay, guys, you can stop it. I get it now. He doesn't exist. I know you're eating the milk and cookies. It's fine.
So literally, I think it was last year, my mom was like, don't you guys want to put cookies out for Santa? And we're like, why though? Santa's not real. And she's like, yeah, but I want some. We literally put out cookies for my parents.
Well, yeah, they put a roof under your head and clothes on your back. They deserve some cookies to fatten themselves up. Come on now. Oh, my God. Well, hey, Santa, as we all know, is married to Mrs. Claus. This next headline here looks like Mrs. Claus is going to have to be quarantining for a while because this minor league baseball team in Pennsylvania had to cancel a holiday photo event after Mrs. Claus tested positive for the Rona. Oh, my God. Yeah, how sad that is for Santa. I mean, he gets his jollies off delivering presents to kids and maybe adults all around the world. But, he has to come home to a wife and cuddle up with her. And now he's not going to be able to for 14 days.
I know. Now he can't even spend the holidays with his wife. He can't even spend his own holiday with his wife. Just think about that.
Yeah. Hopefully Santa doesn't get the Rona. But, actually, now that I think about it, wouldn't it make sense for Santa Claus of all people to have coronavirus? Because, he actually goes into, he goes into every single home in the world and has to go down a chimney, has to touch trees, has to put presents on, touch milk and cookies. I mean, Santa is a walking thing of coronavirus.
Oh, definitely. He will, he's just infected with COVID. I don't even want him in my house this year, okay? I don't even want him here.
Mary's still bitter about Newark School. Those damn kids. They told me that Santa wasn't real, and now I want Santa to have COVID. Yeah. And you know what? Santa has a red suit. Red states, COVID. It all ties in together.
Yeah.
I guess. All right. Well, hey, non-Christmas news here on The Anything Show. A woman in Zambia just sued her boyfriend after 8 years of dating because he hasn't proposed, even though they have a kid together. Unfortunately, the judge told her there was nothing they could do for her. I don't know, Mary.
That's like the ultimate petty move, though.
It is.
Like, if he's really that insistent on not marrying you, then just like find someone else.
Exactly. I mean, look, if the guy wasn't paying child support, then sure, go after him in court. That's valid. But other than that, yeah, I agree with you, Mary. I mean, it's just,
you can't sue someone for not wanting to marry you. It's the United States of, like, you don't have to get married. It's not the law that you have to get married.
Yeah. And just the fact that this woman is crazy enough to sue someone for not marrying her, that's an indication that she's not worth marrying in the first place. Now I can see why this guy's just like, I mean, yeah, maybe boyfriend, girlfriend, but I don't know about getting hitched.
I mean, like, if she's, like, upset about that, imagine, like, other things that she gets upset. He probably knows, too. He's like, I'm not marrying this woman. She's going to, like, kill me and take all my money.
Oh, yeah, kill me.
Like, he's probably, honestly, only staying with her because of the kid.
That's true.
But he doesn't have to marry her.
Yeah.
So, like, if, like, the most that could happen is custody battles, but, he wouldn't have to worry about fighting for the house and everything in it and land and cars and money and all that.
Right. The easiest solution is to just throw the kid in the garbage can, and then the guy could leave her ass.
Wow. That's rough.
I know. Isn't that a great holiday message for this year? Jean-Francois advocates throwing kids in the garbage can.
Definitely don't do that.
Speaking of kids, hey, FAO Schwartz, the toy store, the famous toy store in New York City, they've teamed up with Airbnb to give one family the chance to spend a night inside the toy store. They'll be holding an online lottery we're going to say, well, I mean, because we're recording this in advance, I mean, it may already happen. We don't know. But either way, they're holding an online lottery where one family is going to get the opportunity to move into the store on December 21st. Look, I'd imagine that this is a great time for the kids, Mary, spending a night in a toy store, but probably annoying for the parents that have to put up with those noisy kids playing with toys overnight.
I would so spend a night in a toy store.
You would. But
yes.
But Mary, as someone who hates kids and will probably hate kids for the rest of her life, would you want to spend a night in a toy store with your kids as a parent?
Yeah, because they could be on one end of the store and I could be on the other end.
So you're advocating for it as long as you can separate yourself as much as possible from your own damn children.
Yeah, and I mean, there's tons of toys that'll keep them busy. They won't be nagging me.
Wow, you are the model mother of our times, Mary. I know. It. Oh, goodness gracious. You know what? This is actually something that Mary, the maybe future mother, would do. She might give her kids 5-day-old sushi from a gas station, which brings me...
No, because I don't want to clean that up.
That's true. Yeah, that's true. So that's our next headline right here on the Anything Show. This woman actually suffered months of hallucinations after she ate 5-day-old sushi from a gas station. Now, it was so bad, Mary, that she wound up with a huge tapeworm living inside of her.
Ew.
I know. So once
no one believes me when I say eating raw food can give you parasites. Like, literally no one wants to believe me. But it's like, excuse you, who took a parasitology class in college? Like, who watched Monsters Inside of Me on Animal Planet for years?
Yeah.
You can get parasites from literally walking barefoot in your lawn, okay? So don't even tell me that your meat is so good and the best meat around that, it's impossible for you to get a parasite eating this organic, farm-raised, grass-fed beef because it's top quality. Don't even go there, okay?
Mary, you look like you have some pent-up rage there. What's going on?
I just don't understand when people, I want my steak. I want it raw, and I want it rare, and, like, I want it still mooing. Like, I don't get that.
Well, that would be crazy.
I just don't get it.
Yeah, I get it too. Look, I mean, I've tried sushi, which is of course raw fish, and I didn't care for it. So I would imagine that it's not only icky enough to have raw fish, but to have 5-day-old raw fish from a gas station of all places. Yeah, I mean, the woman was kind of asking for a tapeworm inside of her.
Yeah.
But hey, luckily she took a pill to kill the worm and made a full recovery. So yay! Now she knows.
Oh, good.
Now she knows not to make stupid mistakes like that again.
Play stupid games, win stupid prizes.
Absolutely. All right. Some people might think that threesomes are stupid. I have no idea. I kind of know where you're going to go with this, Mary, but maybe you'll surprise me. So our next headline right here on the Anything Show, there's an app called 3Fun that is looking for people who are interested in threesomes. So they've actually asked couples on the app to share the point in their marriage when they started discussing having a threesome. 33% started that conversation before they were married, 24% in the first 3 years of marriage, 16% between 4 to 6 years, 10% between 7 to 9 years, and 17% after 10 years of marriage. Now, Mary, I mean, I've known you to be a very old-fashioned person, so I'm going to guess what the answer is. Would you want to discuss the idea of a threesome with your future husband?
I mean, I've never had a threesome.
Well,
or even wanted to.
Yeah. I mean,
if he wanted to, then I guess that would come up in discussion, but the answer would be no.
Okay, so
there wouldn't be much discussion.
Wow. So you're saying, I'm open-minded, but I'm open-minded with having the discussion, but just know that you already know the answer. The answer is going to be no.
Yeah. I mean, like, we can discuss it all he wants. Like, we can discuss it for hours and hours and days, but
word. Okay. Well, yeah, that's not surprising. I mean, you come across as a very protective, sort of easily jealous kind of person, so I can see that.
Easily jealous? No, I just don't want to, like, mess around with another chick.
Or another dude. I mean, the guy could want a dude and you in the bed. You never know.
Yeah, but then if that were the case, then that would probably mean he's gay.
Oh, stop it. No.
I'm just saying.
No. It's okay.
No dude wants another dude up in the junk.
Yeah, no. Okay, look, I mean, me personally, I wouldn't have a threesome with another dude. I would prefer a girl if I even liked threesomes. But no, I mean, I as someone who's seen porn, it is possible for two dudes to get it on with a girl without getting it on with each other. It's fine. You're not gay if you have a threesome with a dude and a girl and you're a dude. Oh my God. Are we really having this conversation on the radio?
We really are.
Oh God! Look, hey, I'm old-fashioned like you, Mary. I mean, my reasons are I'm too insecure about being the third wheel, and I just like the intimacy between two people. So I probably would never want to have a threesome. Okay, that's our headlines. Hey, if you have a headline that you would like to share with me and Main Squeeze Mary, you know how to reach us. Facebook.com/TheAnythingShow or get us on Instagram @AnythingShowFrancois. All right, if you're just joining us, John Francois here from the Magic 97.7 studios in Lyndonville, Vermont, and my partner in crime, Main Squeeze Mary, calling in from her apartment in Newport, Vermont. Okay, Mary, we have to show some love to one of our sponsors on this episode of The Anything Show, the Not So Scientific Method podcast. Yay! Now, if you're a millennial who wants thought-provoking, data-driven info with a funny spin, you really have to listen to the Not So Scientific Method podcast. Each week, our good friends Noreen and Jamie chat about a new topic that will hopefully make you laugh and think all at the same time. Now, Mary, I recently listened to their episode about multi-level marketing, which is like all these like women beauty products like Avon. Like, has your mom dived into those women beauty products like that, or no? You know what I'm talking about, maybe?
Probably. I know she gets like the stuff for your face.
Yeah.
Like cream and stuff. But
yeah, like Young Living essential oils, Herbalife, Arbonne.
I guess, yeah.
Yeah. A friend of mine, Alyssa, was also listening to the Not So Scientific Method podcast, and she was mentioning how back in the day, these products seemed to be very genuine, but now lately they seem to be very sketchy and scammy toward their middle-aged woman audience. And I kind of remember when I was a kid, just like, my mom having like Avon bags all around the house because she'd always get like deodorant from Avon or perfume or whatever. So I thought that Noreen and Jamie did a fantastic job at exploring the scientific reasoning behind the scamminess, the sketchiness of multi-level marketing. Now, Mary, you had an episode that you liked from the Not So Scientific Method podcast?
Yeah, so I actually listened to the one where they talked about dieting and like if counting calories was good versus bad, and I think they made some good points about like it's not just about counting calories. Like it doesn't necessarily matter how many calories you put in versus how many you burn. Like if you eat 500 calories of pizza versus 500 calories of vegetables, then like obviously the vegetables are different or like better for you, even though they're the same amount of calories. And I think they also made an interesting point, which I didn't really think about, but certain websites like try to sell you certain diets. So if they're like promoting keto or Weight Watchers or whatever, then they'll be like, oh, this is the best diet to do this is the best one to do. So, like, you're not really getting actual, like, non-biased information. They're always trying to, like, sell you something. So you should definitely, like, ask the doctor what diet they think you should do based on, like, your health. Because if you just go by the internet, then, like, one person's going to say keto's the best, and then another website's going to say Weight Watchers is the best, and another one is going to say Rachel Ray is the best. So it's like, what's actually the best for you?
Yeah, I totally agree. The Not So Scientific Method podcast, check it out wherever you get your podcasts. All right, Mary, the other day I had a great conversation with Mike Holtzman, the founder and lead songwriter of Bad Penny. I mean, my God, the members in this group, legends. They come from Journey, Queen, Queensryche, Blue Oyster Cult. We'll talk about how this supergroup came together, and we'll start off with their debut single, Voices in My Head. The track Voices in My Head from the supergroup Bad Penny right here on The Anything Show. And I'm actually on the line with Mike Holtzman, who is the founder, guitarist, and lead songwriter from Bad Penny, I believe calling in from New York. Hey, Mike.
Hey, John, how are you?
I'm doing wonderful, man. I mean, first of all, before we get into the nitty-gritty, I want to do a wellness check. How have you been holding up with COVID-19, you and the other members of the band?
We're doing well. I think physically we're doing well. The guys are all in professional touring bands, so I think psychologically and socially they're probably suffering quite a bit.
I bet.
But otherwise, we're all well and good.
Yeah, and let's go through the lineup, because obviously we have an all-star lineup of musicians that make up Bad Penny. You want to tell us?
Sure. Bad Penny uses a rotating roster of lead singers. The debut track, Voices in My Head, is sung by Todd LaTorre, who is the lead singer of Queensryche. Our follow-up single is sung by Steve O'Gerry, former singer for Journey. The permanent members of the band, in addition to myself, are Jules Rodino, the drummer for Blue Oyster Cult, and Danny Miranda, the bass player from Queen.
Wow, that is quite a lineup there. And can you tell us how this supergroup came together? What was the purpose?
Well, really, it's one of the benefits of COVID, actually, and having a lot of downtime. And these guys being touring musicians and friends, I was able to get them to commit to this project. So they had the downtime, and we had the songs written. So we were able to record them and produce them using socially distanced methods. And Todd flew in his vocals from down in Florida. I think the overall product is it sounds quite intimate. It sounds like a very well-tuned band.
I agree. And we just listened to your debut single, Voices in My Head. Can you tell us the story behind that song? Is it very COVID-related?
I think so. It came together while we were all in quarantine. And I think lyrically, it just sort of dawned on me that lots of people around the country and around the world are, in this strange psychic space right now. And we're talking to ourselves culturally and politically, and the words just really came out quite quickly.
Now, what I love about this group Bad Penny is that each member comes from, a different band. So that leads me to think that each member adds something maybe unique from that specific band into Bad Penny. Like what would you say is an aspect that each member provides to this band from their other experiences?
Absolutely. I think that each band member has their own sensibility and style. Now, Jules and Danny play together in Blue Oyster Cult, so they have some rapport and chemistry. But Todd obviously sings one of the great metal bands of all time, Queensryche, and so has his own approach to the music and has his own sensibility. And Steve O'Gerry with Journey, really one of the great voices in rock and roll, soulful voice. And he brought his very unique talent and beautiful voice to the follow-up track, which is called Lose Myself. So I think each of us brought something unique to the table, and we all wanted to do something a little bit different than perhaps our day jobs would require of us.
And what would you say your day jobs require of you compared to what you do with this band, Bad Penny?
So Queensryche, is a metal band, a very operatic, theatrical band. Lots of dynamics in the music. This song is much more straightforward rock and roll for Todd. And Todd is going to sing on a subsequent track that's a little bit heavier than this and a little bit more in his vein. But he brought a real heavy rock sensibility to Voices in My Head. And then you had Danny, and Danny's played with Queen and Paul Rodgers and Meatloaf and Blue Oyster Cult. He's really one of the great bass players of our time, and just brings this this musicality to our band. And Jules is just a monster drummer, and you can feel that propulsion in Voices in My Head. So I think all of us brought that.
That's awesome. And Voices in My Head, we have to mention, I think as we're speaking right now, Mike, it has risen to number 39 on the Media Base charts.
That's right. It's quite a pleasant surprise. The song's had a great response. There was very little, I think, rock coming out at the time we released the song. So we were up against Bieber and Taylor Swift and Ariana Grande and all those types. And there was an opening for a good, catchy rock song.
Yeah. And Now, do all of you intend Bad Penny to be just a temporary pandemic project, or once this pandemic is over, hopefully, do you guys plan to extend this and take this band on the road and so on and so forth?
Well, that's the million-dollar question. I think when we started the project, we all intended it to be a one-off. It was something to keep our chops going, to allow us to be creative, collaborative, and we assumed we'd produce, an album worth of music and then go back to, our day jobs. But with the success of the debut track and the chemistry between the band members, I think there's a lot of excitement about doing something else beyond this. I think the model of using different singers may endure. We really like that, to have the flexibility of using different great lead singers that suit different types of music that the band can produce. So that will make it a little bit challenging as a live act. But there is a lot of clamor for us to take this on the road. So time will tell. We have the vaccine coming underway soon. It's being deployed around the world. These guys are going to get back on the road. Queendrake's got a European tour. Blue Oyster Cult is touring with Deep Purple. So, who knows what will happen. But I think you could probably expect at least one live gig from Bad Penny.
So we are just, if you're just joining us, by the way, I'm speaking with Mike Holtzman, who is the founder, guitarist, and lead songwriter in Bad Penny. We just heard their track Voices in My Head right here on The Anything Show, which skyrocketed to number 39 on the Media-Based charts. Very extraordinary for a debut song. Mike, I wonder if you have any words of wisdom for musicians right now, because I know there are a lot of musicians right now that rely on live performance to keep them going, to make a living. Obviously that cannot happen for COVID. So based on your experience, the other members' experience, what would you say to musicians that may be struggling right now?
Yeah. Well, first and foremost, music obviously is a creative outlet, and just because there's the pandemic and we're kind of shut-ins, we need to keep flexing that muscle, and we need to keep recording and making music, even if we're not performing live. So that's the first piece. It's sort of a spiritual bit of advice. Just keep doing it, because it's a tactic that will help you get through this. But from a business standpoint, look, the industry has changed a great deal from 10 years ago or 15 years ago, and that you can record really great music using software that's readily available, that's open source. You can continue to produce music, and you can rally your friends and fans to buy that music online and help sustain yourself. We can use technologies like Zoom to perform and raise money for first responders. So musicians and like film and TV have sustained us through the pandemic. And I would hope that fans around the country and around the world, in return, support these artists.
Yeah, that's great advice. And your band Bad Penny, so far you guys have released the first track, Voices in My Head. I'm eager to hear the next track. When's that coming out, and what's it about?
So the plan is to release a song called Lose Myself, which is sung by Journey's Steve O'Gerry. And it's a bit of a left turn for us. It's a classic power ballad that will resonate with fans of Journey or Foreigner, but with a very modern twist on it. That song is due to drop in January.
Ooh,
but in the interim, we recorded a track with Todd LaTorre from Queendrake that is a much heavier song. And we plan to release that in the coming weeks. That song is called Touch, and we're very excited about that song.
Awesome. Now, for those listening who want to keep in touch with Bad Penny, how can we find you online, social media, etc.?
We have, we're on all the requisite platforms. So you could find us on Spotify. You could find us on Instagram at Bad Penny Official. We do have a Facebook site, Bad Penny Band. And we have a website that is badpennyband.com.
Awesome. All right. Well, Mike, it was a pleasure to speak to you, and good luck. Stay safe and healthy during these times.
John, thanks so much. Rock on.
Support for The Anything Show comes from Liquid Death Mountain Water. Now, Liquid Death comes from a deep underground mountain source protected by a few hundred feet of stone. The water is tapped right from the source into their bottler, where it goes directly into airtight cans after a fancy purification process that 100% maintains the original mineral profile of the water. And these natural minerals, otherwise known as electrolytes, aren't just good for your body, they will murder your thirst instantly. Liquid Death is a completely unnecessary approach to bottled water because, unnecessary things tend to be far more interesting, fun, hilarious, captivating, memorable, exciting, and cult-worthy than necessary things. Our friends at Liquid Death started this with a totally evil plan to make people laugh and get more of them to drink more water more often. So get ready to murder your thirst, bring death to plastic. Find Liquid Death Mountain Water at liquiddeath.com and at all Whole Foods. All right, I had a great conversation with singer, dancer, actor, and entertainment industry expert Dane Reese. He is the host of the You Booked It podcast, which I think is a very helpful podcast if you are either a current entertainer or aspiring entertainer looking to have more of an entrepreneurial control of your career. So here it is, Dane Reese, right here on The Anything Show. It is The Anything Show. I'm your host, John Francois, here based in Vermont, and I should say the United States, East Coast time, because my guest is not even in the United States. He is in the great country of Australia. What's really awesome is that I'm recording this on Thursday night, a little after 9 o'clock, and this guy right now is already at Friday afternoon. It's Dane Reese, entertainment career expert and host of the You Booked It podcast. Hey, Dane.
How's it going, John? In the future, looks good.
I bet. I mean, tell me, why are you in Australia, and how beautiful is it? Because I bet it's like what? It could be like 70 there right now, for all I know.
Oh yeah, it's beautiful because we're also experiencing. Well, down here we are in different seasons. All the seasons are reversed, right? So we are going into summer. So yeah, it's beautiful right now. I just had a bit of a run and a paddled down at the beach in the ocean, so that was amazing. That's not too far away, and it's been great being down here. My wife is Aussie, and we always knew that we wanted to eventually make our way back here long term. We've got a little 4-year-old girl who we wanted to have go to school here and grow up here because it's just a great place to be and live. And we're a couple years maybe ahead of schedule. We had some family things happen, and then also COVID just kind of rocked the world, right? So we said, hey, of all the times in life, during the middle of the pandemic when nothing's really going on, especially in the entertainment industry, which I'm part of, we said, let's do it.
Yeah. Now, where are you originally from? Are you, I'm guessing you were born in the States?
Yes, of course. Yeah, I was born in Fargo, North Dakota, but I grew up mostly in Missoula, Montana. But I've been all over the place. I went to school out in Boston. I went to the Boston Conservatory, but before that I went to the University of Montana. I went to New York, and I studied abroad in Vienna, Austria. And then the last 7.5 years or so, we've been living in Las Vegas.
Wow. Now, Dane has been a professional entertainer for over 16 years. He's done it all: singing, dancing, acting, all around the world. Dane, I'm me being in the entertainment industry as well. I mean, not only do I do radio, but I've also had experience in acting in the past. We all have that moment where we realized we wanted to be in show business. What was that moment for you?
Yeah, for sure. Mine comes really late because traditionally you start performing when you're super young, right? Our daughter, she's 4. She's been in dance class since she was 2, right? I didn't start until 17 and a half, nearly 18 years old. I played sports the whole time. I'm basically your Glee/High School Musical story. And I was playing primarily baseball and football, and then I got concussed out of football. I got noticed that I was going to need elbow surgery if I kept playing baseball, and all that happened in about 4 months' time. And suddenly I had nothing to do. And one of my sister's friends was over one day, and she goes, hey, we need a guy to help lift some girls for this Christmas show. Do you want to do it? I had nothing going on, so I figured, hey, why not? Let's do it. And I guess to make a really long story short, I loved it. I fell in love with that, and that led to me getting involved with drama in high school. They were doing a musical, so I said, well, I should learn how to sing. So I joined choir. And then it turns out I could sing and I could act and I could dance. I could do all these things that I didn't realize I could do. And that snowballed into doing some professional productions, into then going to the University of Montana, and I studied voice there. But I also was the mascot for the school, and I actually won the Capital One National Mascot of the Year award for being the best collegiate mascot in the United States. And from there I thought, hey, I need to do more stuff. So let's get better training. Let's do more show businessy stuff. So I went to the Boston Conservatory for musical theater, and then everything just took off from there.
Oh, my goodness. Now, among your trifecta of talents, singing, dancing, and acting, do you have a favorite among these?
You know, I really prefer to do them all at the same time, hence the musical theater thing, right?
Yeah.
But I've had definitely had different parts of my career where I was just a dancer or I was just a singer, and I appreciate all of it. There's great things about only dancing and great things about only singing, and so I don't know. I really like a variety of things. I'm really awful actually at doing the same thing again and again and again, and like 9-to-5 jobs and stuff. My mind just doesn't work like that. It just doesn't. So getting to be on contracts where I'm 100% dancer is really cool and exciting to me. Contracts where I'm 100% a singer is also really cool and exciting, and just having that variety. So there you go.
Now, and it's interesting that you say, you're not into the whole, same thing, 9-to-5 office routine, because with musical theater, Broadway, if I'm not mistaken, it's usually an 8-show a week routine. So knowing that, you have to give essentially the same kind of quality performance every single night, how do you find yourself not slipping in a routine in that sense?
Yeah, that's what I love about live theater. I guess the irony then, I suppose, is you're a stage performer. That's what you do, is the same thing every day. And in a lot of ways, yeah, you do the content, right? For sure. The choreography, everything has to come out. But I love live theater because you never know what's going to happen. Plus, you're super passionate about it, and all of your time is productive time. You show up, you warm up, you get ready, you get to be around some fantastic people. Then you go on stage, and you get to perform and do something that you love, and you connect with a brand new audience who most of them will have never seen the show before. And every show is also so different, even though to the outside viewer it looks the same, right? But you having your own individual world, every single show is different, and that is what I love. But that being said, even when I'm in shows for a long time, say a year and a half or so, if I've been doing the same show for about a year and a half, I get to the point where I'm like, all right, this has been amazing, but it's time for the next adventure.
Nice. Now, can you give me a very memorable show you performed in that you think best represents who you are as a performer? Oh,
it would probably be the last one that I was in Vegas. It was Baz. It was playing at the Palazzo, and it was an outrageously amazing show. It was, do you know the movie director Baz Luhrmann?
I do not know.
Yeah, so I'm sure you know his movies. He did The Great Gatsby with Leonardo DiCaprio.
Oh,
he did
sure.
Romeo and Juliet with Leonardo DiCaprio. He did Moulin Rouge.
Yeah.
And what we did is we took those 3 love stories and we told them all simultaneously in this weird, like 1920s steampunk world. It was way cool. And the tech in that show was amazing. The talent that came through that show was amazing. But what I really loved about that show is that I was a swing. So what that means is that I understudied multiple principal roles. I also did multiple ensemble chorus tracks. And around the time when I was in that show, my career started also finding the other side of the table as well, production and stage management and things like this. So turns out I ended up stage managing that show and calling that show and working on the deck. So I was literally doing all the different elements of what it took to keep that show running. And it was such a cool experience because very rarely do you get to perform on stage and sing, but then also be up in the booth another time running the entire show.
Wow. And if you're just joining us, my guest is Dane Reese right here on The Anything Show. He is a professional entertainer, entertainment career expert, and host of the You Booked It podcast, where you can find it pretty much any of your on any of your major podcast providers. Dane, I mean, you performed in shows pretty much all over the world, from Vegas to Australia, Italy, Germany, Canada, New York City. What I want to know, as you've performed in all these places all over the world, is there like a difference in how each country consumes entertainment? You know, I've always been curious of that. Like, you know, for example, does Germany enjoy this kind of entertainment more than Italy? Like, have you found that as you've been traveling and performing all over?
Yeah, for sure. Different audiences. Well, it goes not just for countries, but also when you're working in, say, somewhere like Vegas, you get people from all over the world all the time, right? So different cultures, you can see, here's the deal, you get a lot of tour groups, right, that'll come through sometimes in shows, and you'll get a predominantly, say, Chinese Asian section, right? Because it's a giant group of Chinese tourists that tonight they're going to this show, right? Their reaction to the show is much different. They're much more subdued, but they're really loving it, right? But they're not loud and boisterous. My experience in Germany was actually doing a TV show, doing a variety act called The Quiddlers, which is hilarious because you look them up. And that was a lot of fun, but in Germany, they're fantastic. They love theater and cabarets and that kind of style, some slapstick stuff. I really love the German audiences. They're really great, and they really appreciate performance, and they appreciate being entertained live.
Wow. And are you a part of the Actors Equity Association?
I am. I am an actor and a stage manager in the union.
Yes, indeed. Actors Equity Performer and Stage Manager. Now, from one guy who has done theatrical acting in the past to another who is currently doing it, I have to ask you about this. I've wondered whether actors are better off with or without union representation. Like, I'll give you an example. I have an actor friend of mine, Dane, who really wanted to try out for this SpongeBob SquarePants musical, but because it was non-union and he was affiliated with Actors Equity, he could not try out for it. So, what are your thoughts? I mean, for aspiring theatrical actors who are just trying to decide whether to be associated with a union or just work independently, what are the sort of pros and cons? And what's your recommendation? I guess is what I'm asking.
For sure. Yeah, it's a tough question, right? And it's very personal. So what I always coach people is to say, when you are about to start your career, before you want to entertain, you want to perform. Great. Thumbs up. Now take a moment to ask yourself, what do I really, truly want out of my entertainment career? And most likely that answer is not going to come immediately. You're going to have to sit on that. You're going to have to let that question develop, because what that question is for you and getting really clear is so important, because what that question means for you will help direct your trajectory and where you should go. For instance, do you want to be on Broadway, right? Or do you want to be in film and television? Because yes, you can do both in both places, sure, but LA might be a better market for you, right? Do you want to travel the world? Are you willing to pick up your entire life at a moment's notice and go wherever a contract is? Or do you need more of that the W-2 steady paycheck kind of contract work, or are you happy to freelance? And answering those kinds of questions for you will help direct which market might be better. So when it comes to getting your equity card and accepting and joining the union, you have to look at what you want and where you are in your career, because like your friend found out, if you are in the union, suddenly that limits you to what you can actually do, right? But my experience, for instance, was I didn't take my card until I was in a show where I had to take it. I had been in other productions where they're like, hey, do you want to take it? You can get it. You can get some points and things like this. I said, no, leave me out of it for now, because I don't want to start limiting myself, because my goal was just to entertain, whatever that meant, right? That's all I wanted to do. And I felt no need to really have that equity card. And when the right time came, I took it, and it was great. But unions are also something that are a fantastic thing for the protections of actors. I think on the whole, I'm not a big union person. I don't really like unions in most job settings. I think they tend to breed mediocrity. But in the actor performance world, I think it's quite vital, because what we do is so personal. What we do is attached to our egos, and we aren't going to go on stage and just do poorly. We're going to give everything, all of ourselves, every single time, because if I go on stage and I have a bad performance, people aren't going to shame the producer for my bad performance. I'm the one who's on stage in the spotlight, and it's my responsibility to have. And because of that, it's easier to take advantage of entertainers, because they will go above and beyond. So having a union there to protect our best interests is super important. Plus, in America, healthcare is bonkers expensive, so It's really great for entertainers as well. And the way it works is really cool, because you can remain insured while you're not even in a show, because what happens is you get qualifying weeks, right? And after you so when if you're doing a performance of an equity show, you accumulate a week of of health coverage, right? And once you have a certain amount of weeks, then the union will say, great, you are covered for the next 3 months, the next 6 months, the next 12 months. So even if your show closes, you don't have to freak out because you don't have insurance anymore. They still insure you in that interim while you're looking for other work. So that's something that's so brilliant about the Actors Equity. And yeah, that's kind of my short 2 cents on that.
If you're just joining us, we're speaking with Dane Reese. He is an entertainment career expert and host of the You Booked It podcast. Find it wherever you listen to your fine podcasts. Dane, I gotta wonder about this nice fancy title that you gave yourself, entertainment career expert. When did you know that you were at a place in your career where you could take on a mentorship role to those who are seeking success in the entertainment industry? When was that moment? How was that moment? Tell us about that.
Yeah, for sure. I think you got to give yourself a title at some point, right? I mean, that's the thing. I don't have a company, right, that I work for that gives me that title. And my whole career, when I went into this wild industry of entertainment, I went to the best school in the country at the time for musical theater. I spent $200,000 going to that school. I left with an outrageous skill set, and I had zero clue how to actually turn my skill set into a career. Which was mind-boggling, really. We go, how did I just spend all that time, all that money, and I still don't know actually how to make this a profitable thing where I can say, yeah, this is how I make my income. And through that, I lost a handful of years in just, figuring that out. And we all eventually have to figure that out, right? But I don't think it's right that you should be thrust into the world with these massive student loans and no clue how to actually do the business side of this industry. The singing, acting, dancing, sure, that skill set, that's fine. But once you're in the world, you show up to an audition. The fact that you can sing, act, and dance is the baseline. That gives you the right to be in the room, right? But it's all the other things around that actually create a successful career. And through discovering that, and throughout my entire career, all of my castmates and peers, we'd always chat, and I was always so forthcoming with the information that I've learned, different resources that I've found and I thought were really helpful and helped propel my career forward. And I would like to share that with everyone, but it's always like on a one-on-one level. And I was like, I need to expand this. So just kind of progressed. I just thought more people need to know this information. So that went into, creating a talk and going and speaking to people, trying to increase the amount of people that can get that message. And then I've been very fortunate to be very busy through my career and be booked. But then the pandemic hit, and I said, you know what would be cool? I can still spread this message, but let's do it on a podcast. So I created You Booked It, and it has really taken on a life of its own, much more than I ever expected. I knew I was going to have a good time because I was going to be talking to a bunch of entertainers, right? But I didn't realize how really important it was going to become for our industry, because I'm not just talking only to Broadway people. I'm talking, which is a lot of the podcasts out there in my niche. I'm talking to as many people as I can, from editorial hair and makeup people in LA, to film actors, to music producers, to choreographers. I'm talking to people that are casting agents, people that are all over the world, from Hong Kong to London to LA to Vegas to New York to Australia, as many places as I can, so we can get an actual, real 360-degree view of how you create a successful entertainment career. And from that experience and everything developing, I'm like, wow, now I actually, because not only am I interviewing people and for other people to listen to, but I'm also, every time I interview someone, it's like I'm getting coached as well and learning and more. So I've also become this resource that doesn't exist anywhere else. I've talked to more people about this than anyone else in the world at this point. And that is just how everything has kind of naturally, organically progressed into doing coaching and mentoring and things like that within the industry.
Yeah. And, I got to commend you, Dane, for an episode that I listened to this morning or maybe this afternoon in the shower. And probably at that point, it was late Thursday night over there in Australia where you are.
Yeah.
But yeah, I got to commend an episode that I was listening to earlier today of the You Booked It podcast. I really loved the appearance with the dancer from the Alvin Ailey Dance Company who got this great audition for the Lion King on Broadway. I don't want to spoil it too much. I don't want to spoil it too much for those listening right now who want to like actually listen to the story in full. But I just thought that interview was just a great example of knowing when you have leverage over an opportunity over the director who wants to cast you, and just confidently taking ownership of yourself. You know what I mean? Like not, there was something about that dancer when he realized that he was being seriously considered for The Lion King on Broadway. He really thought of himself as a confident sort of human representation of a business, as opposed to just one of many actors who could just be kind of played and fiddled around with by the director, and not really someone who stands out. So if anybody wants to check out a particular episode of the You Booked It podcast, I would recommend that one with the Alvin Ailey Dance Company dancer who I believe is did he end up going into The Lion King, if I remember correctly?
Yeah, he did.
Yeah.
So he ended up booking it, and he went to The Lion King on Broadway, which is awesome. His name's Daniel S. Harder. Great interview, yes. Amazing guy. 161 is the episode number. But, yeah, really cool. And his episode is so great because all of them have so much gold and gems that you can actually take away and apply to your career and your life immediately. But having those conversations are so important. Like you said, the business side of these things, it's so many people think, I can just train in dancing and I can just train in singing, whatever, and I'm going to have a career and I'm going to get discovered and it's going to be great, or I can just go to class and get my gimbal and look amazing in my Instagram video. And yes, while all those things are important, you need to have the skill set. Of course, you need to, have some videos. There's so much more to this industry that creates long-term success. It's one thing to book your first contract or book a contract, but it's a completely different thing to book a career's worth of contracts. And that's really what I delve into through my coaching. And also, one of the biggest reasons why I created the podcast, so we can uncover that information. That's the stuff no one talks about. That's the stuff zero education programs actually teach.
Wow. And it's the You Booked It podcast from Dane Reese, who is my guest right now on The Anything Show, entertainment career expert and host of this wonderful You Booked It podcast, where really, I would say it's the Bible for anybody who is aspiring to go into a career in entertainment, whether you want to be a singer, dancer, actor. If you're listening right now and you need, basic encouraging tools, I highly recommend listening to this podcast from Dane Reese. Now, Dane, can you tell us how we can find this podcast and where we can find you on social media, all that good stuff?
Absolutely. So, like John has said, the podcast is literally on every podcast platform that I've found. And all you got to do is search You Booked It. It's a blue logo. If you want to come check me out on the interwebs and you like websites, go to youbookeditpodcast.com. And on Instagram, go to @YouBookedItPodcast. Connect with me, follow, send a DM. I'm super responsive, and let's chat.
Awesome. Well, Dane Reese on the phone from Australia, where it is a completely different day than what it is right now in the East Coast part of the United States. Dane Reese, entertainment career expert and host of the You Booked It podcast. A pleasure to have you on, Dane, right here on The Anything Show. And stay safe and healthy during these trying times. And please say hi to a kangaroo for me, because that's really all I know about what's in Australia.
Will do the next time I happen to run into a kangaroo. And John, thank you so much for having me. It's been an absolute pleasure being on your show.
Thanks once again to Dane Reese from the You Booked It podcast. And Dane was nice enough to find me that clip from the episode I love so much, where he interviewed Daniel S. Harder from the Alvin Ailey Dance Company, who went on to appear at The Lion King on Broadway. Here it is.
Without her guidance, who knows if I would have been ready to step into the Ailey Company when I eventually did. But that setback actually set me up for what was to come, which was great.
That setback set you up. Love how you said that. And there are so many factors that we sometimes take for granted and unfairly take for granted, or egotistically take for granted even sometimes. And we have to be careful with that and to just, like you said, be present. That you learned that lesson to be present, do the work, because clearly you eventually, of course, went into the Ailey Company, the main company, right? But clearly they saw something. They say, you know what? I think we need to. They probably thought maybe we need to help develop him a bit more, and they put you in the Ailey 2 company. And like you said, you grew so much.
Absolutely.
And it cemented your foundation. And it's one of those things that you don't know what you don't know, right?
Indeed.
And I can imagine, I'm going to assume, and tell me if I'm incorrect or not, that now you're looking back hindsight on that experience and you go, you know what? Ailey 2 was the perfect place for me to be, so that you were ready and prepared for the main company when that came.
Absolutely. You hit the nail on the head.
Listen to The Anything Show with John Francois on Apple, Spotify, Google, SoundCloud, or wherever you get your podcasts. Follow on Facebook at The Anything Show and on Instagram at Anything Show Francois. Did you get all that?